So, in my previous video, I talked about a newer horror game on Roblox called Doors, a pretty good entry into Roblox's vast catalog of games. It had a lot of good elements, and at the end of the day, it garnered a mass popularity and fanbase very fast. In fact, looking back on it now, I'd actually give it around an 8 out of 10 score, since I think it does a lot of great things for a Roblox game. And since that video is doing so well, thank you guys so much, I'm loving the love. I decided to make another one. But on what, you may ask? Well, I decided to look back to a game from a few years ago, and one that I used to play all the time, and revisit this experience. If you were on Roblox back in around 2017, you might have actually played this game during its peak, and it still gets around 10k visitors per day, still pretty solid in my opinion. The game in question is called Flee the Facility. Flee the Facility is a horror game on Roblox made in August of 2017. It is a survival game where you, along with 3 other players, are placed in a map with the Beast, a player who wields a massive hammer and has to kill you. You must hack the computers like an XX Pro Gamer XX and, flee the facility. This is a game that I love a lot, and one that triggers me to the inner core of the earth. But why? Why is this game so frustratingly fun? Well, ladies and gents, I, Chompy, am here once again to explain this to you all. So buckle up and let's get started.
Can we get much higher? So high. Vegeta, what's going on?
So, once you load into the game, you're placed in a lobby that changes according to the season or whenever the game feels like getting updated. Players that are in the lobby are either just joining and waiting for the game to end, or people who died in the middle of the game and or escaped. There are lots of different locations in this lobby, such as the cabin, a maze underneath the cabin, the map voting place, and a crystal cove built as a memorial for the creator's first ever game. There's also a trading center, but that's to trade stuff and I won't be going there, cause I'm lazy. There are also loot boxes, which can either be bought with Bobucks, or just being good at the game and getting coins after you win each round. These crates can be bought to get either a different hammer or a gemstone, something I will explain later. There are a total of 9 different maps you can choose, those being Facility, Airport, Abandoned Facility, Abandoned Prison, Homestead, Library, the Backrooms, Haunted Mansion, and the Forgotten Facility. So, with all of that out of the way, let's dive into the actual game. There are 2 roles. 4 out of the 5 players in the game will be selected as survivors, and 1 is selected as the Beast. The goal of the survivors is to hack all of the necessary computers and open up an exit to escape, while the Beast is supposed to capture these survivors and place them into tubes. So, on the survivor side, like I said, you must hack the computers. If you're with more than 1 survivor, and depending on the amount, computers will be finished hacking much faster. However, even though you can be sitting there, hacking a single computer for up to 2 minutes, you must pay extra close attention, as there's a little pop-up at the bottom of the screen that will pop up occasionally. What you have to do here is perfectly time when the red line reaches the white spot. If you fail this, you stop hacking for a second, and the Beast will become aware of where you are via a red pop-up of where the computer is. From there, you can either continue hacking and risk getting caught, or run away and try to find a different computer. Now, on the Beast, you must capture the survivors and place them into tubes. When you spawn in, you are in a cave-like place for around 15 seconds before the game starts, to sort of give the players a head start. Once you find a player, you have to hit them with the hammer that you have, and then tap on them to summon a rope. After that, you have around 20 seconds to get them into a tube. If you capture every survivor, then you win. Now, I am somewhat mixed on the Beast, as one thing I don't like is that if the Beast leaves, the game just ends. Honestly, I do find it somewhat annoying, but it's better than in other games where the player just gets replaced with a broken AI.
Oh!
Now, what happens if the beast finds you? Well, you can either run away via a window or a crawl space to try and escape, or you can be unlucky and get hit by the hammer. If this happens, you'll go ragdoll mode for around 20 seconds, and you can only try to flail as you try to run away. If the 20 seconds pass, then you can stand up again and run away. Now, if another player is captured, the beast can put them into a tube where they freeze to death. What the other players have to do here is rescue the trapped player before they freeze and are finally dead. Now, once all 5 computers are hacked, the players can open up an exit. There are 2 exits on each map, which means that the beast can only camp 1 exit at a time. I think this balances it out, although there are some other issues, such as the one thing that single-handedly brings this entire game down for me.
Michael! Don't leave me here! Michael!
Now, let me tell you about one specific specimen found in this game. One species of player so vile, irritating, and rotten, they completely dampens the entire experience of the game. The campers. Yeah, we're talking about these people. These helium-pitched Belgian waffles are often found at lower levels and show no shame, regret, or not even remorse for what atrocities they're about to commit. But don't be fooled, higher level players will never shy away from it either, and if you're unlucky enough, some can be found to have critical levels of salt expulsion, or just really toxic Roblox chats. Now, I try to be respectful towards people and give them a chance, but when they camp, I lose any respect I had for them, and I can confidently say, I hate these kinds of people. Now, why do I hate these people? Really simple. They make it virtually impossible half the time to rescue anyone they capture, or even win the game. All they do is sit there and smack anyone who tries to get close to help the person who got captured. And it's one thing to camp, but it's another thing entirely when they're toxic about it and calling you trash. Gee, it ain't my fault for literally being puppy guarded the entire game. But why stay in the server and suffer while the camper is relishing in your agony when you can just leave and deny them both the enjoyment of camping and XP? I mean, it is mostly harmless, and the only risk you'll take is having some trash talk being said behind your back, but that isn't too bad, right? Except the campers can also leave the game and rob you of any XP you try to get as well. And it's not even just that, too. It's the fact that it creates one of the most obnoxious and repetitive gameplay loops I've ever seen in a game. Player gets captured, player saves player, beast gets player again, player saves player, beast gets other player, player tries to save player, beast leaves the game. You see what kind of problem this causes? And yes, I know that the developers did try to put in measures to try and make camping less of a problem, where the player only freezes if the beast is far away enough. But they've even managed to exploit that too. They'll either just stand right in front of the tube and just wait for someone to try and save their friend, or they'll just camp at the other side of the room and rush to hit the person who just got saved. And yes, I understand some of these people are younger kids who have a hard time winning against far more experienced players. But that still doesn't detract from the fact that these types of players utterly ruin the game, which is an honest shame because I truly love this game. To an extent, I can't even blame it in the first place. It's not so much a problem with the game itself, and more of the players somewhat abusing a mechanic that just makes it agonizing to play at times. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, before I conclude this video, I wanted to do something interesting, different, unique, some might say. So, what did I decide to do? I decided to have my genius calculation gibble run through a simulation of a Flee the Facility game. So, with that being said, sit back and relax for the next minute and a half as I present to you the calculation gibble at his work.
Hello, your computer has virus.
what did I think of it? Honestly, this was a really fun and nostalgic trip back to a game that is still kind of popular nowadays. It was honestly really fun to see how well everything aged. Despite that, the campers were a massive, glaring problem, and it's not even the game's fault, but they just made the game sometimes completely unplayable. Regardless, this was still an awesome and fun experience that I got to have. So, how would I rate it compared to Doors? Well, I'd say this game is probably a 7 out of 10. This game would also be an 8 out of 10, but because of the campers, it really falls down quite a bit and makes the game just that much more unenjoyable. But that's just me, and I still adore this game 100%. I also just want to say thank you guys for the massive jump in subscribers. From my last Doors video, we're almost double the size of what my channel was back then. So sincerely from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. Regardless of that, share this video with a friend, see if it makes them laugh, and yeah, that's about it. Goodbye.